know what we haven't talked about much lately and we should do more of, and that is the stealth operations of the Koch brothers. Now, I would imagine coming up in the next few months are going to get a lot of attention because of the recall in Wisconsin. We're told that upwards of $70 million is going to be put in place to defend the position of Governor Walker so he doesn't get yanked out of office. The recall effort well underway, organizational things happening, and on November 15th, they will start the clock ticking on a 60-day window to collect over 540,000 signatures. Now, you can believe that the Koch brothers are going to be involved in this, pushing back, trying to save their golden boy, Governor Walker. But there's other things the Kochs are doing. In fact, Robert Greenwald and his team have done unbelievable work exposing Koch Industries and cancer risks that have taken place. I want to direct you to a website. This, if you're a lefty, this is your website for the underground work of these jokers. KOCH, Koch Brothers Exposed.com. Robert Greenwald, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Ed. Great to be with you.
I mean, you got a dandy here, don't you?
Oh, man.
How did this start, and where are you right now?
Well, the Koch brothers campaign project started with the brilliant article by Jane Mayer in the New Yorker, and then the great work by Addie Stan on Alternate and Lee Fang at Think Progress. But we realized there was, this was a real opportunity for some investigative work and using what we do, which is video, to tell the story. So we began about 7-8 months ago going into the mode of trying to find the strongest stories about what they're doing. And, of course, the world is filled with things that they're doing. And we found over the period of time we investigated the fact that they were behind the effort to destroy Social Security, that they benefit from the tar sands pipeline, the fact that they literally, not figuratively, were laying the groundwork for resegregating the schools in North Carolina, although there was a big victory last night where their candidate was defeated, which may help bring to a halt the resegregation. And then the piece we launched yesterday, Ed, which is the most devastating, a small, poor African-American community in Arkansas, which has a big Georgia-Pacific plant there, which the Koch brothers own. And you see in the video person after person having cancer, dying from cancer, on a respirator. And they're very clear. They talk about the fact that the Kochs and their profiteering and their refusal to do the right thing are costing them and their relatives their lives. And it brings to the fore, it brings class to the fore, it brings racism to the fore, money in politics, because the Kochs buy the elected officials. We know that they're making a terrific effort to weaken an already weakened EPA. So the video sums it all up, and hopefully, people will use it to spread the word, to really put a searchlight on how horrible these guys are in terms of their ideology and their profiteering.
Well, every Republican candidate last night talked about stripping regulation from business. And how could they all be on that same page if they're not feeling the influence of the Koch brothers?
Well, there's no question they're feeling the influence of them. These guys are spending hundreds of millions of dollars. And I will say one thing, as much as I disagree with them, Ed, the way they fund is very, very smart. There's a very important line in Jane Mayer's article. She quotes one of the Koch brothers, I think it's Charles, and he says, "We realize that politicians are actors who read from a script, and we, the Koch brothers, want to write that script." So what that means is they fund ideas, they fund think tanks, they fund activist groups, they fund those people who are making the message. And so you have what you had last night, politicians all reading from the Koch brothers script around, quote, regulation and the EPA. We've seen it in Social Security, and we're seeing it over and over again where their ideology, their effort to have more and more money, how many billions of dollars do you possibly need? But it doesn't seem to be an issue for them. And in our video at KochBrothersExposed.com, on Facebook, on the website, or on my Twitter account, we're putting out the constant series of investigations really showing you what this means and the fact that there are victims. These are not victimless crimes, what they're doing. It's very important. You know, Ed, we can talk policy, we can talk politics. It sometimes get abstracted, but here are people whose lives, our daily lives, are being deeply affected, and their friends and relatives are dying because of politics and because of policy.
You know, I almost get the feeling that it's a hobby for the Koch brothers, that they're so powerful, they got so much money. It seems like it's a hobby to see if they can influence and get it the way they want it. How involved do you think they're going to be with the recall of Walker, defending Walker? They have the resources to do it.
Oh, I mean, tremendously involved. You know, they're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars, and remember, it will be around candidates, but almost more importantly, it will be around activist groups. It will be Americans for Prosperity. It will be research papers. It will be media. So they're going to go full tilt out around Walker. They're going to go out around a series of campaigns around the country. And what we need to be, keep reminding ourselves, they will be, no matter who the candidates are, their message is going to be picked up. That's what we've seen on Social Security. That's what we're seeing in the EPA, the House of Representatives, which they're buying, has had almost 50 votes already to weaken the EPA. That didn't happen because members of the House from small districts suddenly got up one day and said, we want to weaken the EPA.
Robert Greenwald, always doing great work. Brave New Films. Here's the website, folks. KOCH, that's KochBrothersExposed.com. Every person who cares about democracy in this country should be caring about this work. KochBrothersExposed.com. And how are we going to see the Koch brothers stopped with their influence? We probably won't because of Citizens United. They got deep pockets. They got a superhighway to get what they want. And it's power to the people that's only going to reverse these folks. There's no question about it. Mr. Greenwald, always a pleasure. Good to have you with us.
Thanks, Ed.
You bet.